What's up, everybody? Welcome to a new video. I have a special treat for you guys today. Today we are going to do a little, uh, you know, dive into Ed Gein, because there is a new show coming out called Monster, the Ed Gein story. It will be on Netflix on October 3rd. I'm not sure if any of you guys are into, horror or serial killers and stuff like that, but I love watching things about that. They are amazing, okay? Especially with the way graphics are nowadays, it's just superb. So today, let's get into, well, let's do this. We'll watch the official trailer first, and then we'll go over a few facts about Ed Gein. So
There's something.
That's a little loud. Okay, here we go. Ready? Let me restart. Turn this down a little bit.
There's something real dark about you, Eddie Gein.
Eddie, you're a mess. Only a mother could love you.
When I look back upon my life.
That's another special treat, guys. Check this out. Charlie Hunan is going to be playing Ed Gein. I love Charlie Hunan. If you guys don't know who he is, he was the main star in, wow, why am I drawing a blank? Sons of Anarchy. Sorry. He also played in a movie called Pacific Rim. Great movie as well. If you guys get a chance, check it out. He's just an overall great actor. There's another movie he had starred in where he went to prison. I can't think of the name. If you guys know the name, leave it down in the comments, but let's continue.
It's always with a sense of shame. I've always been the one to blame for everything I long to do. No matter when or where or who.
That's another thing. Just going to say this real quickly. To the people who don't know Ed Gein was serial killer. The movies Texas Chainsaw Massacre were basically based off him. They added a few other characters, but basically, if you put it all together, Leatherface is Ed Gein, okay? And then it's like all the characters in Texas Chainsaw Massacre were basically the different personalities of Ed Gein, because Ed Gein, when he was younger, he was diagnosed as a schizophrenic. So, and it showed very, very early. But he had a weird obsession with his mother. Very weird. Okay, they were very intimate. Okay, so if you guys see this, just yeah.
Is this okay? I just feel like I'm a puzzle, and none of the pieces fit.
It's a sin.
Oh my God! I know I'm pausing it, but I want to check this out. So another thing Ed Gein was known for was he would take the skin of his victims and he would make furniture out of them, chairs, lampshades, everything. And I love how right here, look at this. You see the stitching of the skin that he made for his lamp. when Ed Gein's mother passed away, he kept the body, but he took the skin off, okay, and he would dress up as her. Okay, so that's another thing that if you guys didn't know, that's why Charlie Hunan is dressing up as his mother.
What did you do?
You're the one can't look away.
It's a sin.
That is what I'm talking about. This is the movies that we need. Okay, I'm so excited that they are bringing back movies like this. Okay, I no more weird movies where it's you got black mermaids that were supposed to be fair, pale skin and red haired stuff like that. Okay, I'm so happy that they're coming out with these. Okay, let's watch another trailer. Man, I'm excited. I don't know if you guys are excited. I am excited. If you guys get a chance, check out Dahmer and Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Mendez story. Great series, okay?
What shocks you most about him? How did he do it?
Look at that lamp.
What was his childhood like?
That's another thing, too, is Ed Gein had a very, very weird fantasy with a magazine. I wonder if they'll show the magazine name. Let's go back a little. Too far. I'll try and pull the whole.
Most about him. How did he do it? What was his childhood like?
Okay, so they don't actually show the actual magazine name. We're gonna go over some facts after this, but he was really obsessed with looking at women and the way they looked, the way their skin was, what they dressed up as, everything.
Now.
Look at them. He would wear the faces of his victims. He would collect their parts in jars and put them in his fridge and stuff like that.
I'd like to show you something worse.
That's another thing too. Sorry guys, I know I'm pausing it. Ed Gein actually only admitted to killing 2 people. Well, murdering 2 people, but he admitted to digging up recently buried women, okay, and basically dismembering them and taking their skin and stuff. So, like, he admitted to that, but he was only convicted of killing 2 women.
You're working too fast.
I'm sorry, Mother.
Just go slow and steady. Take your time, sweet boy.
Wow. I'm so excited for this to come out. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's go over some facts. 14 terrifying facts about Ed Gein, okay? Number 1, he is known as the Butcher Plainfield, okay? Yes, he is. I'm almost positive it's Plainfield, Texas. But yes, he is known as the Butcher Plainfield. Here's a picture of him. And man, I must say they did an awesome job with Charlie Hunan and how he, like, because Ed Gein did have kind of a lazy eye. Like, and the way the haircut, they just made it perfect, okay? His father wasn't really around. He was an alcoholic, okay? that's kind of obvious, but he was a bit too close to his mother. Ed Gein loved his mother, and his mother taught him how he should see the world. They lived on an isolated farm, so it was easy for her to influence her two sons. Yes, there were actually two kids, Ed and Henry. It is believed that Ed killed Henry, and it was basically I'm pretty sure there was a fire or something, and Ed had reported his brother missing after the fire was blazing, and they kind of ruled it that like he died of smoke inhalation. Um, don't quote me on that, but we'll check that out after this. But it also says Ed's ultra-religious mother, who was nominally Lutheran, basically indoctrinated her sons with her distorted view of the world and constantly told them that all women, except herself, were naturally promiscuous and instruments of the devil. What on earth could go wrong, right? Luckily, his brother Henry wasn't that easily influenced and often spoke badly about his mother in the presence of Ed, something that apparently shocked him as an affection for his mother knew no bounds. And that's another reason why they believe that Ed killed Henry was because, Henry wasn't falling for some of the things that his mother was, saying. Oh. Where were we? Here we go. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia and it showed early on. As you might have expected, there were early signs that something was really off with Ed, and starting in his childhood, later in his life, he was diagnosed with schizophrenia, something that explains some of his behavior as a kid. One of those particular forms of behavior was his sudden bursts into laughter for no apparent reason. It's almost like that movie, The Joker, with Joaquin Phoenix. You know how he just starts laughing. It was kind of like that. As if he was laughing, or yeah, for no apparent reason, as if he was laughing at his own jokes. This is a clear sign of schizophrenia, which means he suffered from this condition since his childhood, and it was left untreated his entire life. Damn. One of the most remarkable facts about Ed Gein is that regardless of weird behaviors at time, he was considered to be a smart student who excelled in reading at a young age. It kind of makes sense. I mean, they even say, like, you think autistic children, people think, oh, they're stupid. No, autistic children are some of their motor skills are very poor, but they are legitimate geniuses when it comes to certain things. Okay. Example, there's a podcast I watch, the Unsubscribed podcast, and Eli, his son, is autistic, but his son is a genius when it comes to, if you were to ask him, hey, what date was this, or what was the day for this date, and give it to him back in like the 70s or whatever, he'd be like, oh, Thursday. Or if you would ask him a math question, he would get it. And if you get a chance, go over to the Unsubscribed podcast and check it out. I like that podcast. They bring a lot of awareness to autism and stuff like that, and it's a very funny and amazing podcast, and I really think a lot of you guys would like it. Let's carry on. Ed Gein used to be a babysitter, and one of the scariest facts about Ed Gein is that he was considered to be a friendly and reliable man. While he was doing odd jobs in the community, Ed Gein and his brother were often hired as handymen, and Ed seemed to have been well liked by children of the neighbors. It seems that it was easier for him to relate to children than to adults because of his talent. He was frequently hired as a babysitter by people in the neighborhood. How scary is that? Excuse me. It's amazing that, he only killed adults. He never hurt children. So that should tell you something. All the PDF files and stuff, there's no excuse. This man was a legit schizophrenic. Yeah, he might have killed people, but at least he didn't touch children. I have more respect for this man than I would a PDF file. Facts. Here we go. Did Ed Gein kill his brother? On May 6, 1944, there's a typo. Ed and his brother were making a fire to burn some garbage at their farm. The firefighters had to put out the fire as it was spreading out of control, which took the entire day. When everybody was gone, Ed reported his brother as missing at the local police station. Later that day, Henry was found dead, lying face down. The fire was blamed for his death, even though it was clear he had been dead for some time, and the official cause of death was marked as heart failure. See, I didn't know that. Further investigation also uncovered the fact that Henry had bruises on his head. which makes his death all the more mysterious. Some people assume that Ed killed his brother because he was getting fed up with Henry talking bad about their mother. There you go. Things went downhill when his mother died. That's when they say that it basically he flipped a switch. You know what I mean? Ed's father George finally died of his chronic alcoholism at the age of 66 in the year 1940 because Ed's brother Henry moved in with a woman he had started dating. Ed was left alone with his mother in the final years of his life. This made the bond that Ed had with his mother even stronger, which also strengthens the theory that Ed actually killed his brother because he couldn't stand Henry talking bad about her. Ed's world collapsed when his mother died on December 29th, 1945, at the age of 67. And the words of Ed's biographer, Harold Schechter, I hope I'm saying that right, he had lost his only friend and one true love. That told you he had a weird relationship. And he was absolutely alone in the world. Wow, look at her face. There's something off right here. That looks kind of like inbredness. Anyway, number 8. He was fascinated by pulp magazine related to atrocities. After his mother died, Ed Gein started visiting local graveyards to dig up bodies of dead women who resembled his mother. At this time, he also started a fascination with pulp magazines and adventure stories. His interest was limited to stories about cannibals and those that graphically explained the atrocities of the Nazis during World War II. It's very likely that the fact that he was now all alone in the world, his schizophrenia and his discovery of magazines dealing with this matter, pushed him over the edge to start the sick behavior being killer. Ed Gein was arrested November 16th, 1957. In the town of Plainfield, a hardware store owner named Bernice Warden had disappeared. Her son, Deputy Sheriff Frank Warden, found an abandoned store bloodstains and an open case register, but no sign of his mother. The last customer of the receipts was Ed Gein on November 16, 1957, the same day as the disappearance was discovered. Ed Gein was arrested in a nearby grocery store. And here's a photo of that. 10. Detectives literally discovered a house of horrors. When the Wilshire County Sheriff's Department searched the Gein farm, nothing could have prepared them for what they were about to discover. First of all, they found the decapitated body of Bernice Warden in one of the barns. Her body was hanging upside down, tied at the ankles with a crossbar. Her body was cut open, mutilations that were inflicted after she had been shot dead with a shotgun. Basically, he was draining her blood. If you're a hunter, everyone knows that, when you go hunting, you would hang the deer upside down, it drains all the blood. The following items were discovered inside his house. Whole human bones and fragments, a wastebasket made of human skin, human skin covering several chair seats, skulls on his bedpost, female skulls, some with tops sawn off, so like this, so you can see the brain and stuff. Bowls made from human skulls, a corset made from a female torso skinned from shoulders to waist. Wow. Leggings made from human leg skin, masks made from the skin of female heads, Mary Hogan's face mask in a paper bag, Mary Hogan's skull in a box, Bernice Warden's entire head in a burlap sack, Bernice Warden's heart in a plastic bag in front of Ed Gein's pot-bellied stove. Kind of makes you think he was going to eat it. 9 vulva in a shoebox. A young girl's dress and the vulvas of 2 females judged to have been about 15 years old. A belt made from female human nipples. Wow. 4 noses. A pair of lips on a window shade drawstring. A lampshade made from the skin of a human face. Fingernails from female fingers. All the gruesome discoveries were photographed and subsequently destroyed. One of the most interesting facts about Ed Gein and his House of Horrors is that the areas in which he lived were a complete mess, filled with horrific artifacts, but several rooms, including his mother's bedroom, have been boarded up and left untouched. Everything in his house that reminded him of his mother was left as if nothing ever happened, which clearly shows how badly attached he was to her. Look at that house. The sheriff went mental during Gein's interrogation. Okay. It's clear that the Washoe County Sheriff Art Slee, or I don't know, don't quote me on that, didn't understand that he was interrogating an insane schizophrenic. He actually went as far as banging Ed Gein's head against the wall, resulting in Gein's initial confession to be ruled as inadmissible. Wow, I did not know that. Art Sly died of heart failure at age 43 in 1968, just before Gein's trial would commence. Many who knew the man claim he was completely traumatized by the horrors he witnessed and by Gein's behavior during the questioning that it led to his own demise. Wow, I didn't know that it was inadmissible. Ed Gein was found not guilty by reason of insanity. Ed Gein's first trial began on November 7, 1968, and a week later he was found guilty of the murder of Bernice Worden. His his second trial, however, dealt with his level of sanity and whether or not he would be found insane. Judge Robert H. Goldmer ruled that Gein was not guilty because of insanity. Excuse me. Of course, he is insane. And ordered him to be committed to the Central State Hospital for the criminally insane. He was transferred to the Mendota State Hospital in Madison, Wisconsin, where he spent the remainder of his life. He died at age 77 from lung cancer and respiratory failure on July 26, 1984. Wow, so this man lived until 1984 with all that in his head. Wow. His gravestone was stolen in the year 2000. Ed Gein was buried in between his parents and brother at the Plainfield Cemetery. His grave somewhat became a tourist attraction, and people visiting would ship pieces of it to keep as a souvenir. In the year 2000, the infamous gravestone was stolen but recovered near Seattle about a year later. It is now kept permanently at the Washoe County Sheriff's Department. Right now, his grave has an unmarked stone in an attempt to keep the souvenir seekers away. There's some weird ass people out there. You know what I mean? Like, there are some straight up weirdos. Ed Gein's story became the inspiration for multiple horror movies. Here we go. The story of Ed Gein is quite something, isn't it? Many movie makers must have thought the same thing, as it became the inspiration for multiple famous horror movies and novels. Ed Gein became the inspiration for characters such as Norman Bates, which makes, yeah, that's a good show. And Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, Leatherface, there you go, Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, and Buffalo Bill in The Silence of the Lambs. Okay, look at that face. I mean, just look at that. This something's gonna bother me. I gotta check if Plainfield. Where was Ed Gein from? Okay, forgive me about that. It wasn't Plainfield, Texas. It was uh, La Crosse, Wisconsin. He must have lived in the town of Plainfield, Wisconsin. Wow. But anyway, what do you guys think about that, man? Like, they're coming out with a crazy new series. I'm super excited about it. I hope you guys are too. If you guys have any thoughts, leave them in the comments. And if you can, please like and subscribe. And I hope you guys have a blessed day. And when you get a chance, October 3rd, remember, October 3rd, Netflix, this series comes out. All right, guys, you guys have a good one. We'll talk to you later.